Well, hello there, second grade math geniuses. Listen, we are at chapter 11, the final review. This is on page 771 in your math workbook. And these last 4 pages or so will finish up your math book for the year. I know you're excited about that. So let's take a look at what we got here and let's see what we need to do to get through this. Now, page 771. The first thing you got to do is match some shapes. And so you've got some real world objects there, a basketball and a block, can of soup. And I want you to match those with the shapes that you see below them. And that should be pretty easy to do. So the basketball is a sphere. The can of soup is a cylinder. Everybody recognizes what a cone looks like because you probably like a little ice cream on it. And then the cube, which is represented by the child's block there, the number block. Number 2, do the sentences describe a cube. Now remember, vocabulary, you have to know what a cube is. A cube is a three-dimensional shape where all the sides are the same length. It's like a block you played with when you were a kid. Actually, when you were a littler kid. So, how many faces does a cube have? Well, it's got a bottom, a top, a side, left and right, and a front and a back. So that sounds like 6 to me. So a cube has 6 faces. So a cube doesn't have 4 faces. Depending on how you look at it, it has 6 sides, but the top and the bottom are not considered a face. So it has 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 sides that are visible that actually face you. Those are the faces. So a cube has 4 faces. Does it have 8 vertices? Remember, you got to remember what a vertex is. That's where 2 lines come together. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 vertices in a cube. Does it have 14 edges? Ooh, let's count the edges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'd say no for 14. Each face of a cube is a square. That's true. Each face is a square. If you open this up, you would have the top, the left side, the bottom, the right side, and so you got 4 sides, the bottom, and you're going to have one more that will fold across and make the top. Remember we drew this the other day? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sides, but only 4 faces. Well, that's everything you probably ever wanted to know about a cube. Let's head over to the next page. We're now on problem number 3. Draw lines to show thirds. Now we just did this. So, you've got a rectangle. There's one shape. And then the next shape is a square. And all you got to do is divide it into 3 equal parts. So you can do it this way, or if you want, you can do it in 3 parts that way. Same thing with the square. That was easy. Number 4 is a word problem. Will Anna have gardens that are the same size? Oh, Will and Anna. They both have gardens that are the same size, and it's represented there by those 2 squares. So let's draw the 2 squares and see what they want us to do with them. So we got 2 gardens that are the same size. They each divide their garden into 4ths. What are 2 different ways you can do it? Now, we've done this before. The easiest way to do it is just to cut it into 4 parts that way. But you could also, because it's a square, you can cut it on the diagonal. But you also could cut it into 4 parts that way as well. So there's 3 ways. When you got a square, you can use the diagonals and create equal parts. You can't do that on a rectangle, though. Does not work with a rectangle. Number 5 is draw to show halves, thirds, and fourths. Color a half of, a third of, and a fourth of the shape. So it's asking you to do, with the circle, to do half. And then it tells you the color. A half. The next one is a square that they want you to cut into thirds. And then they want you to color in a third of it. And then the rectangle, they want you to cut into fourths. And they want you to color 1/4 of it. Remember, these are all fractions of the whole shape. This is 1/2. This is 1/3. And this is 1/4. Remember I told you the bottom number tells you how many parts there are. Always look at the bottom number to determine how many parts of that whole shape you're going to divide it into. Just remember that bag of M&Ms that you're dividing with your friends and how you want to make sure everybody gets an equal, the same amount. Number 6. Max wants to cover the rectangle with colored tiles. Explain how you would estimate the number of square tiles he would need to cover the rectangle. Now, you can do this either by just looking at it, or you can actually take and cut out a piece of paper that size to match it in the book, and then see how many times it would take to cover it. And in this particular exercise, I would estimate that it'll take 6 of these to fill in the rectangle. Now again, if you got a pretty good eye and you can see that, well, that colored in section there looks like it's about 1/3 of the distance across. So there'd be 3 across and then 3 underneath it. Altogether there would be 6. Number 7, another word problem. What is Jenna up to? Well, let's see. Jenna built this rectangular prism. Circle the number of unit cubes Jenna used. So in other words, she took some, those blocks that you used to stack up when you were littler. And this particular shape shows 4 blocks So, understand that in each one of these, this is 1 block here, this is another block here, and then there's another block here, and another block here. So there's 4 blocks in this part of it. So if there are 4 blocks there, there's going to be 4 blocks over here. So altogether, 8. Now, if you were in the 3rd grade, you would know that this is an introduction into what you will come to know as volume. And there's a formula for volume. Length times width times height. Now, since you don't know your times tables yet, you can't really use that. So they rely on the fact that you can just count. There's 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, and then there's 2 rows of 4 blocks. Altogether, there's 8. If I did the multiplication, you see it's 2 blocks here, and then it's 2 blocks here, and then it's 2 blocks here. Length, width, height. 2 times 2 equals 4 times 2 equals 8. Taught you something you're not going to learn until well into the 3rd grade. If you can figure that out, you're pretty close to a genius. The key to making math easy is memorizing those multiplication tables. And if you have a set of multiplication flashcards and somebody at home that can teach you the multiplication tables, if you come to 3rd grade and you already know those multiplication tables, math will be so easy for you. So anyhow, in that particular drawing in the book, it's actually 3 blocks deep. The one that I drew on the board was only 2 blocks deep. So just count the blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then you're just going to circle 12 of those individual blocks next to it. Number 8. Rachel makes a pentagon and a quadrilateral with toothpicks. Now, if you don't know your vocabulary, might as well be talking in Russian. You have to know what a pentagon is and what a quadrilateral is. Pentagon, remember? Pent, the prefix of that word, means 5. So, a pentagon is going to look like this. 5 sides. The second vocabulary word there is quadrilateral. Quad means 4. So a quadrilateral is any shape that has 4 sides. Now it can be a rectangle, it can be hang on, let me get this a little better. It can be a rectangle, it can be a parallelogram where the sides are parallel, or it can be a trapezoid where only one set of sides are parallel, the other 2 go in different directions. But again, lock in that vocabulary and the terminology will tell you what to do. So let's see what Rachel is up to here. She made a pentagon and a quadrilateral using toothpicks. She uses 1 toothpick for each side of a shape. How many toothpicks does she need? Well, if an object has 5 sides, a pentagon, and a quadrilateral has 4 sides, then she's going to use 5 toothpicks for this one and 4 toothpicks on the other ones. So 5 plus 4. Altogether, the least amount of toothpicks in order to make a pentagon and a quadrilateral would be 5 plus 4, which equals 9. So 9 toothpicks. If you got to get 9 toothpicks, what you'll end up with, you'll make a very nice pentagon, but the quadrilateral, because the toothpicks are all the same size, that quadrilateral would be a square. No extra charge for that. Get yourself 9 toothpicks and try it. Number 9. Kevin drew 2-dimensional shapes that had 9 angles in all. So if it's got 9 angles, it's got 9 sides. And you can draw that any old way you'd like, as long as the lines all connect. So as you go around the dots, 9 lines. And you can draw that again. Those 9 lines can go in any direction. They just have to end and come together. Number 10, it's testing to see if you know what it means to have 4 equal parts in a shape. And there are, out of those 4 images, 2 of them have 4 equal parts. Number 11, draw each shape where it belongs in the chart. So we're looking for shapes with fewer than 4 angles. That means it's got to have less than 4 lines. And the only shape that's less than 4 lines is a triangle. Triangle, tri, means 3. You cannot make a shape out of 2 lines. You got to have at least 3 lines because all the lines have to connect together somehow. And then shapes with more than 3 angles would be any shape that's a quadrilateral. 4 lines, 5 lines, a pentagon, 6 lines, a hexagon. And represented there are, there is a hexagon, and there is a quadrilateral, 2 quadrilaterals. So that should be easy enough for you. Really challenge yourself and label each one of those shapes by what it is. What kind of shape is it? Well, the first one is a rectangle. The second one, 3 sides, is a triangle. What are the other 3 shapes? That's it. We have finished the whole book. You see that? We're at the very end. Good job, guys and gals. That's it for 2nd grade math. I hope you're proud that you've accomplished this. We'll wrap up this whole geometry unit 11 for you. And I'll remind you to take care of yourselves and stay safe. As always, be kind to people, okay? If you have any questions at all about any of this math, let your teacher know, and I'll do the best I can to answer any questions you might have. We'll see you later. Have a good rest of the school year and then a great summer. All right.